Hi, this is Pastor Tim, and I want to welcome you to day 4 of this devotional about right thinking. We're focusing on Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So far, we've looked at 4 things that we're supposed to be thinking about: whatever is true, noble, right, and pure. Today we want to focus on the next two: whatever is lovely and whatever is admirable. I used the admiral hat to remind me of admirable, and you can ignore those letters X and P by the right side of the hat. We'll deal with those tomorrow. Lovely is biblically was an old word, and this is the only place in the New Testament where it's found. But it comes from a very common root meaning friendship, and it's defined as something that is pleasing and winsome. And it speaks of what promotes peace rather than conflict. I'm sure some of us have had times of conflict, and it's not a great place to be. Romans 12:18 says, "If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone." That's difficult sometimes, but if possible, we have to do our best to have peace with everyone. Do you have friendly thoughts, or are your thoughts more antagonistic about a certain person? We should try to think well of others and treat them with respect. It's tempting sometimes to think about all the faults of a person rather than their good points. The love chapter, 1 Corinthians 13, says that love does not keep a record of wrongs. We like to do that so we have more ammo during fights, but it's not biblical love, and it's not having lovely thoughts. Romans 14:19 says, "Let us therefore make every effort to do what leads to peace and to mutual edification," building each other up. James 3:17 says that wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure. We've talked about that. Then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. But especially note that it's peace-loving. If you're a wise person, you love to have peace, and you'll do whatever you can to make that happen. Psalm 84 says, "How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord, Lord Almighty. My soul yearns, even faints, for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God." The loveliest place is the presence of God. It's a beautiful and a peaceful place. David wrote in Psalm 27 that he had a great desire to be in God's presence. He was called a man after God's own heart, and he wanted to focus his heart and his thoughts on the Lord. The next category of right thinking is whatever is admirable. I use an admiral's hat to remind me of this, and this word also is found in the New Testament only in this verse, and it relates to what is positive and constructive rather than negative and destructive. It talks about things that are commendable or of good report, things that come to us like good news. Now we know there's an abundance of bad news in the world today. We need to do our best to try to find sources of good news. Of course, the Bible is the best place to find that good news, but there are other sources that I pray God will lead you to get good thoughts into your mind. One of the features of online shopping is reviews from people who have bought the item. And it's wise to check if the item has good reviews before you buy it. When Paul was giving instructions about the church caring for widows, he said to focus on those who basically have good reviews. 1 Timothy 5, a widow who is put on the list for support must be a woman who is at least 60 years old and was faithful to her husband. Those who are younger than that, he kind of encouraged them to remarry. But verse 10 says she must be well respected by everyone because of the good she has done. Has she brought up her children well? Has she been kind to strangers and served other believers humbly? Has she helped those who are in trouble? Has she always been ready to do good? In other words, are they admirable? We need to think about things and people you admire and why you admire them. Of course, the greatest person we admire is Jesus. Spend time regularly thinking about Jesus and why you admire him. Offer words of thanks and praise for who he is and how he blesses you. If you're married, think about things you admire about your spouse and tell them what you think. If you have children or grandchildren, take time to tell them about the positive things you see in them. And of course, you can always look at Bible characters and see what you would admire in them. I keep a list of verses that I find encouraging, and I try to memorize them so I can think about them even at times when my Bible isn't open. Here are a couple resources that will help you to think about how God and Jesus are admirable. They're short. They're only $3 or $4 a piece, but it'll be a good investment to think about different characteristics of God. Well, thinking about whatever is lovely and whatever is admirable will help you to renew your mind. So we'll continue this study of right thinking in day 5, and I ask you to please continue trying to memorize this verse. If the graphics help you, great. But I hope by the end of this study that you'll have them firmly imprinted in your mind. Well, thanks again for joining me, and God bless you.